Hi everyone, it's Tawney. I am doing a lot of motivational things this week, I should say. Cleaning a lot, doing laundry, washing my bedding. I went for a walk to go to the post office. Hi everyone, it's Tawney. Not sure when you're going to be seeing this clip in my vlog. I'm just going to kind of like piece them all together. I have a lot of just like, I guess, B-roll footage or like background stuff that's just like me going on a walk, me doing some laundry, me cleaning a little bit, like just kind of stuff to throw in the video and like so you can get kind of a glimpse of what I do on the weekends. This is the first Saturday, and well, technically weekend in general, but the first main Saturday that I haven't had anything to do. Like I haven't been going to a vendor show, I haven't been going to any parties or like any gatherings of any kind. I haven't really been like having a party at my place. I never like planned to go shopping or anything. Like one weekend we planned to go get pictures taken a couple miles away from our town at this really nice covered bridge, and then we ended up going shopping in like one of the, one of those areas that like has all the stores, has a big mall, has a bunch of really nice restaurants. If you're from a small town, you know that you like flock to those. We just kind of like ended up there. We were at Olive Garden, and this weekend was not one of them. My mom wasn't doing anything yesterday. I wasn't doing anything yesterday. It was just kind of like a chill day. I went over and hung out to see the new dog that my sister got. And then tonight she was like, well, can me and the dog come over? Because we're afraid to leave him home alone, just in case he pees in the house. We already have a dog, and we just got this new dog. So we're not sure, like, they're okay together, but we like to have somebody there to, like, buffer just in case the older dog gets a little excited. And she was like, can we come over and have dinner? And I was like, sure, that's great. I have dinner already thawing out, like, it's fine. So she came over and we just watched TV and played some cards and stuff. And, like, it was just a very relaxing day. And, like, I got some errands done. I got some cleaning done. I watched a movie I hadn't seen yet. So that was pretty exciting. I checked out Luckiest Girl Alive yesterday on Netflix. And I have to say, when she, like, I forget what the very first, she has one of these, like, let your intrusive thoughts come out kind of moment. And I forget what the first one was. But when she stabs the guy with the fork, and he, like, reacts to it, because technically it's, like, in that reality, it's real. But in, like, actual reality, it's, like, not happening at all. But the fact that he, like, looks at her, I was like, she just stabbed him with a fork. She just stabbed his hand with a fork. Like, I was, like, so shocked. And then, like, I liked the parts with Mila Kunis, but honestly, I liked the Tiffany parts. Like, I thought the teenager stuff was so interesting, and it was just, like, I wish there would have been a little bit more development for Ani, honestly, but that's just, like, because I feel like there was a little bit missing, but I really liked that movie. I don't think it was, like, 10 out of 10, like, everybody's raving it is. I think it's, like, a 9.5 out of 10, but honestly, like, the acting was so good. I really liked it, and I like that they really talk up the incident that happens at the party for Tiffany, and like I felt like that was so interesting. And then I was looking for another movie, and I wanted a scary movie like for Halloween. Obviously, we're like smack dab in the middle of October, and I remembered I had recorded Silence of the Lambs because I'd never seen that movie before. I watched like the first 5 minutes, but I wasn't able to finish it that day, like the day I had originally watched it. So I was like, look, I have time, I'm watching this, I want to know what happens in this movie. I honestly, like, I'm pretty sure Jodie Foster got an Oscar or some sort of, like, award for that movie. I'm, like, 99% sure she did, because why wouldn't she? Or at least, and I know that, what's-his-face? The guy that played Hannibal Lecter, Anthony something, I can't think of his last name. I'm pretty sure he probably got an award, but, like, Jodie Foster was, like, incredible. Like, I couldn't believe how good she was. And then, like, the part where she's in the house, and it's in the dark, and she's, like, shaking with that gun, oh my gosh, I could not believe how good that was done. And then the ending with the phone call, I was not expecting that. Like, I thought it'd get resolved. And then I was like, well, this is really cool. And I think I've heard that there's a sequel to it, but it's not like Silence of the Lambs 2. It's like, here's this movie. It could be a follow-up to this, whatever. So I kind of want to look into that. Maybe I'm totally wrong. I don't know. But I want to look into it just to see, like, if it actually is a thing and watch it, because it sounds really cool. And I'm very invested now. And then today, I watched a lot of football, as you'll see that I've talked about in this, I've either talked about it or I've showed a clip or something like that. I have something thrown in there. Watched a lot of football. Clemson won, Wisconsin won. Great football day in the college football world. And then I was like, what else do I want to watch? So I found Blair Witch. It is the sort of sequel to the Blair Witch Project. It's the newest one that just came out a couple years ago. And I watched that tonight. And I have heard so many good things about the Blair Witch Project, the original one. And I've heard that the guy that wrote The Shining, Stephen something. Oh my gosh. I'm forgetting like very important people's names and I feel awful. And the guy that wrote The Shining, he said that he couldn't make it through the movie the first time he watched it. I don't know if he ever finished it or not, but he said that it was like so scary he just couldn't do it. I thought that movie was boring. When it finally got interesting, it ended. And I was like, well, that's great, but like, where's the rest of the movie? Like, I finally get hooked and then you like end it. And it was just like, and I don't know why, I thought that Blair Witch was going to be different. It was the exact same thing. They kind of delved into the scarier parts more, like the scary parts of the Blair Witch Project. They delved into that more, like the part where the wooden like cross things and the wooden people, the hanging stuff. They kind of like showed a little bit more of that. They kind of made it seem a little bit scarier and like kind of like went into that route a little bit more. The Blair Witch Project just kind of was like, oh my gosh, what is that? And then they just kind of like walked away. Like it didn't really like go into much more detail. This kind of was like, oh my gosh, this is scary. I don't like this. And it kind of allowed me to be like, okay, this is scary. I don't like this. And then they get to the house. And in the Blair Witch Project, spoiler alert, if you have not seen either of these movies, don't listen any further because I'm going to ruin the movies for you. But aside from saying that I don't like them. But in the original one, they get to the house, she sees the guy, camera falls down, movie's over. In this one, they see the guy, and I was like, oh, movie's over. They just saw the guy. They told you. If you ever watched, like, any of the, if you ever read any of the, like, the stories about it, don't look at the guy, because that means you're gone. It kept going, and I was like, ooh. And I wanted to see, like, how much more was left of it, but I was like, no, I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to feel like I'm, like, rushing to finish it, even though I kind of just wanted to be done with it, because it just wasn't doing anything for me. But I was just like, I'm going to let it play out how it happens, and when it ends, it ends. And she kept going, and then she finds the guy, and then he's talking to Heather, and she's like, bro, Heather's not here. And then she starts screaming, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then she turns the camera around, and I thought it couldn't get worse than, and I still don't think this movie was that scary. But she turns the camera around, and she's like, if I don't look at you, I can't see you. And bam, there's the dude in the corner. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I'm going to have nightmares tonight. Gonna have to go to bed with the lights on, like, oh my gosh. And then she hears the voice, I think, of the friend that had just been, axed off. And she turns around, bam, camera goes down, end of the movie. And I was like, you just told yourself, don't turn around, don't look at it. But then it's also like, what did you think was gonna happen? Did you really think you were gonna, like, survive the rest of this thing? Like, it's not like you turning the camera around is going to save your life. It's going to prolong your, like, the final scene for you in, like, a couple seconds or minutes, but that's it. And, like, the part where the girl was crawling through the thing, and there was a light at the end, I really thought that was, like, the light at the end of the tunnel she was going to live, and then it was just the camera, and I was like, man, this girl's not living, this is not happening to her tonight, she's not going to make it, and, like, for some reason, because it was that found footage type of movie, I kept thinking it was VHS, and I kept waiting for all this, like, scary stuff to happen. Like, if you watch VHS, I got effed up from that movie. Like, I am traumatized. I can never watch that movie again. Oh my gosh. That movie was so scary. If Blair Witch would have been more like that, whew, man. Found footage right there, that is the end of it. Like, that is the, like, true peak. And like, a lot of people say Blair Witch is, like, the best one, and I feel like it's good because it started it, and it definitely shows, like, it goes from calm to severe, and it kind of, like, gradually, like, you get freaked out because they find more and more stuff, but I feel like VHS kind of, like, does a little better, but that's just my personal opinion because I got more scared by it, and I feel like that makes it a better movie, even though it's not a movie I'm probably ever going to watch again in my life, but, yeah, I was just kind of, like, I don't know, I was just like, well, that's over. What are we going to watch now? And there was nothing else that I could find I wanted to watch. And I want to watch the original Halloween movie, like the original, very first one from the 1970s. I think it was 78. but none of the streaming services have it. But everything seems to have the second one. And I'm like, the second one's great, but you have to watch the first one to watch the second one because you have no idea, like, what happens. Like, the second one starts off right where the first one ends. So you need to know what happens. Otherwise, you spoil everything in the first one when you watch the second one. Like, it immediately starts off with Lori's going to the hospital. The policeman finds out Annie's dead. Like, I mean, you can't, like, I don't know. And I recently watched the newest Halloween, the third one, Halloween Ends, I think it is. The very final one that they made and said they're going to make. Jamie Lee Curtis was pretty firm about that. I don't want to say I hated it, but I think I did. My boyfriend was just like, yeah, don't like. We were barely into the movie, and he's like, I don't like this. Because it was a love movie. And I get the whole thing with, like, Lori and the cop, but that was her friend's father. It's, like, he's older than you, Lori, and I understand when you get older, you know, age gaps kind of change, but you grew up with this man being your best friend's father. That's, like, it was weird to me. And I thought, like, the friendship was good because they're, like, the only two people, like, there's 3 people left. And I think they were, like, 2 of the 3, pretty much. And I feel like that, like, having that closeness of them being, like, friends would have been nice. But the romance part was just kind of weird. Like, it never fully got to, like, kissing or anything. But you could tell it was going in that route. And, like, she had a crush on him. And it was just, like, it's weird. And I just didn't like... I liked that the granddaughter found someone. But I didn't like that it was, like, Michael Part 2. I just thought that was so dumb. And the more I watched it, the more I was like, you know, the second one was more like the third one. I feel like if they would have done the part, got into the hospital, showed all of that trauma, showed all of that, like, freaking out, maybe even put in there that they're turning against each other, whatever, because, like, that's kind of a part of it, of the whole hospital scene, where they're all fighting with each other, and they're, like, arguing, and, like, they just can't get to a resolution together, and I feel like that kind of showed that. If they would have, like, after that part where they go and, like, attack Michael, if they would have stopped it there, that been the end of it, and then take him to the stockyard, the car yard, and done, you know, what they did in the third one, I feel like that would have been a good ending. But I hate that, like, they just went stab, stab, stab. Okay, he's gone, let's go incinerate him. And it's like, I just don't, like, it wasn't enough. They have done, I mean, in the second one, I'm pretty sure, I think it was the second one, they blew up the hospital, he walked out of the fire. You'd think that would have been enough? No. I think it was either the second or the third one. And no, the second or the fourth one. The third one doesn't count, because the third one sucks. It's not even, I don't even know why people even watch that one. But, and then, like, I think something happened in the fourth one, and I don't remember about the fifth one a whole lot, because I just can't, like, remember. And then H2O, she drives him, you know, the thing down a hill, and then they wreck, and that's when she drives down the thing and pins him, or something like that, and then she chops off his head. That would have been more, like, that should have kind of, and I feel like at that point, they kind of thought they were ending, and then they kept going, and it was just like, I don't know. I typically, for those movies, don't say that any of them are bad. Like, the first and second one's great. The fourth one, I think that's the one that follows around with Tommy whenever it's played by Paul Rudd. I think that one's the right one. I like that one. I think the part with, like, the cult stuff at the beginning is kind of weird. I think that's the one with, like, the baby. Whichever one that is. I feel like that's kind of weird. And then the part with, like, Jamie Lee Curtis's niece or granddaughter or something, that's weird, because it's like, okay, who's your, like, brother or sister that's having this kid? Where did she come about? What is this? Unless it's, like, an adoptive something, because I feel like that's happened. That movie was weird, and, like, that one was kind of sad because it was, Dr. Loomis's final movie, because the actor who played him passed away not long after the movie was, like, I think they were in the middle of filming it when he passed away, because he was, like, really, really old at that time. And I think that one was okay, but it was definitely not great. But the little girl in that movie, her acting was really good. Like, I have to say it was good. Then the next one, where they have that rapper, I forget what his name is, Busta Rhymes, I think it is. That one was kind of dumb and kind of hoaxy, but I like the whole, like, thought of them filming in his house and, like, doing all of that. I feel like that was good. And then H2O, of course, I really like that one. And I like the acting and all of the actors and stuff. And I like, Jamie Lee Curtis, like, moved on and, like, tried to live her own life, and she had a son. But then, like, when they get to the first of the trilogy, the final trilogy of Halloween, they kind of pretty much ignore the fact that she had a son. And he lived, I'm pretty sure, he lived throughout the end of H2O. I'm like 99% sure he survived that. So, like, they just kind of, if I'm remembering right, they just kind of ignore it. If I'm not, it's been a while since I've watched that movie. But it just, like, I want to like it. And then a friend of mine posted on Facebook that she thought the Rob Zombie remakes were better than the originals. And I was just like, I wanted to comment, but then I was like, no, I'm not going to be mean, because that's like her opinion. She's allowed to have it. I have mine, because like, I think I'm right. She thinks she's right. And that's just, and I have tried to watch those movies, and I just like, I feel like the fear factor is there and the scariness is there. But like, Jamie Lee Curtis, man, you just, without her, I mean, what kind of a movie don't like, and like the first one, and I always say this about movies that are older, stuff made in like 60s, 70s, whatever. The older stuff was scary for that moment. It's not scary now. Scary now is like Insidious and all of those types of movies that like I can't watch because they're too scary. VHS, for example. But I feel like that movie played on the like suspense so much that by the time you finally see Michael, then it like, you're already like, like you're anxious. And I don't know. I just don't really care for the Rob Zombie remake. I always thought like I was like indifferent to it, but I'm at the point that I just don't really care for it. I just kind of forget that it's ever happened, because like, just let John Carpenter do Halloween. He knows it best. He's done it best. And I also watched Fear Street, the very first one. I was very bummed to see What's-Her-Face from Stranger Things, the girl at the beginning. I was kind of bummed she didn't make it, because I really liked her. I thought she was a really nice person. So I was kind of upset that she didn't go. But I was really excited to see, I think Sadie was in that one. No, not yet. She's in the Sadie Sink. She's in the second or third one. I think the second one in the 90s. Or the first one's the 90s, second one's like the 70s or 80s, and then the last one is like the 17-something. I thought those movies, I didn't expect them to be as scary as they were, to be honest with you. I was legit like, the grocery store scene when the kid gets his head chopped up, and I was like, what? I really thought they were all going to live. And I'm watching it as I'm like decorating for Halloween, and I looked at my boyfriend, I was like, what just happened? Did they just do that? Oh my gosh, this is all, and I had to stop to watch it because I was so involved. And we were going to go pick up dinner, and we literally sat there and watched the rest of the movie before we left, because we were like, we have to finish this. We need to know what happens. And then the girl dies, and I was just like, and then I thought the movie was going to end not long after that and just be like, okay, they lived, it's great. No. It keeps going, and I love how they all come up with the same story to tell the cops. I feel like that was like genius. The entire movie, that when they do that, I just feel like it was like so good. And then the part with the girls at the end, I was not expecting. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I wanted to watch the next one like immediately, but then I was like, I think I need a minute to like decompress and like take in what I've just watched, because it was a lot. And I really want to watch the next one, but I'm waiting on my boyfriend. But I'm super excited to see how that one is. I don't know why I put it off for so long, but I was like, well, now it's October, I'm going to watch it. So I'm definitely looking into watching more, like, scary movies and stuff. And I have a lot saved on Netflix that are, like, the one that, like, My Babysitter is a Killer or something like that. Like, movies like that, like, are scary but not, like, horrifically horrifying, like Insidious and all of that. I kind of want to watch more like that, just to, like, say I've watched some scary movies and stuff. And I watched Scream 1 and Scream 2. Love those movies. And let me tell you, oh, Billy Loomis, who they named after Dr. Loomis, by the way. Man, I literally watched this and I like drool. I look at my boyfriend and I'm like, sorry, he's really hot. Like, he's really good. And then Timothy Olyphant in the second one, whew, like, I think he looks really hot as like an older guy. Like, he's one of the best looking like guys at his age now. But back then, he was still kind of cute. Like, it was definitely something. I want to watch the third and the fourth one. I've never seen the fourth one, but I want to watch the third one because I hate what happens to a certain person at the very beginning of that. They did not deserve to go out the way they went. I thought they were a very good character in all of the movies, so it's a bummer. And I hated the newest one. I watched it. I liked that Gina girl that was in it. I thought her acting was great. Like, she's a very good actress in anything I've watched her in. I've only watched like 1 or 2 things with her. But I just thought it was, like, not great. And then I hated the part with Dewey. If you know, you know. I can't get over it enough to want to watch the next one. Because I heard they're making a new one. And, Neve's not coming back. And for some reason, I'm such an idiot. I thought that Neve Campbell, who plays Sydney Prescott on Scream, was actually played by Selma Blair. I did not realize that Neve Campbell and Selma Blair are not the same person. Because I kept saying, no, it's Selma Blair. It's the girl from Dancing with the Stars. She's the one that's in it, the one with MS. And my friend was like, no, it's Neve Campbell. And I'm like, no, it's Blair. It's Selma Blair. And finally, I had to look it up, and I was like, I've always thought it was Selma Blair. Like, I've always thought it was her. And I was like, they really look alike. Like, they really look alike. And I'm wondering if it was just in my head that I made this up. Because I feel like sometimes I legit thought that, like, news articles and stuff said that Selma Blair played in Scream. But unless I'm just, like, totally envisioning all of this and thinking it actually happened, but it didn't. But, like, I couldn't get over that. If you have any movie recommendations, put them in the comment section. And thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you liked it. Let me know what your favorite part of this vlog was, because I definitely enjoyed showing a lot of this to you. So you can get, like, kind of an in-depth view of my life, see what kind of things I do, see the daily chores I have to do on a Saturday. And I will see you guys in the next video or vlog. Bye.